As Christians, we know that God has a plan for each of our lives. Sometimes His plan leads us into marriage to fulfill His purpose as a couple. But there are also seasons when God wants us to remain single, for reasons that we may not fully understand. In the wise words of King Solomon in Ecclesiastes 3, there is a time and season for everything under heaven, including the timing of marriage. So how can you know if staying single is God's will for now? Let's explore the 7 signs. The first sign is contentment in your current state. In Philippians 4:11-13, the Apostle Paul wrote that he had learned to be content in all circumstances through Christ who strengthened him. If the idea of staying unmarried does not distress you, take it as a signal that you are content, and this points to God's approval for this season. Conversely, chronic discontentment with being single can lead to forcing a mismatch, rebel against God's plan, or lead you into the temptation of sexual immorality out of unmet desires. A second sign, God wants you to remain single, is a lack of dating prospects. In Psalm 37:4, David wrote that we should delight ourselves in the Lord, and He will give us the desires of our heart. If you desire marriage but there are currently few or no options in sight, take it as a signal that this period may not be the season for it. The Lord could be shielding you from poor matches for your good. While God can certainly introduce someone unexpectedly, be cautious of grasping at relationships when the timing seems off and options are few. Rather than despair, use singleness as a gift to draw near to Christ. Thirdly, a need for emotional or spiritual healing can signal a time to refrain from romantic entanglements. In Isaiah 61:1, Jesus said the Spirit of the Lord had anointed Him to bind up the brokenhearted and set captives free. If you are recovering from a difficult breakup, trauma, family issues, or other wounds, it's important to allow time for that restoration before rushing into another relationship. Give Jesus time to heal you deeply, that you may avoid carrying baggage into a future marriage. Don't short-circuit His work in you. Taking time for prayerful self-examination, you may find pockets of bitterness, selfishness, pride, insecurity, or obsessive attitudes towards money or career that need to be refined. In His grace, God uses this period to transform those defects into virtues that will be pleasing to a future spouse. Cooperate with His sanctifying work to grow in grace. Fifthly, a deep longing for intimacy with God signals this is a season to seek Him wholeheartedly. In 1 Corinthians 7, Paul observes that unmarried individuals care for the things of the Lord and pursuing intimacy with Him, while married people must care for their spouse. Singleness fosters greater freedom in serving Christ. If God is calling you to the mission field, pastoral ministry, or another thing requiring deep devotion, singleness enables greater focus. Do not seek to change His call, but ask for grace to walk in it. If you find yourself thirsty to go deeper with Jesus like never before, embrace this gift. Let your relationship with Him take first priority now. Another sign may be feeling unprepared or immature for marriage. As you prayerfully examine your life, God may impress upon your heart areas He seeks to develop before joining you to another. Improving communication, cultivating wisdom, learning sacrifice, or refining your vision for a godly family. If self-assessment reveals room for growth, God wants to groom you into the ideal spouse first. Cooperate with that sanctifying work. Though honorable marriage is God's general design in Genesis 2, seasons of singleness also have purpose when discerned with wisdom. So, do not rush into singleness out of weariness from broken relationships, anger toward the opposite gender, or feelings of inadequacy. Your identity is not in marital status, but Christ. Take time to heal by His grace. The affection of God Himself comforts the lonely places in a way no human can match. Determine, like Paul, to be content in every circumstance, leaning on God who strengthens you. So take heart, my friend. God is with you in the valley of decisions and has not abandoned you. My prayer is that these scriptural insights provide guidance and encouragement on your journey. Thank you for watching, friends. God bless you richly.